Good afternoon, everyone. Virgotriad here. And this is a re-upload. First of all, I want to talk to you guys about something that occurred. Over the weekend, I received an email from YouTube. YouTube informed me that there had been a privacy complaint with regards to one of my videos from almost a year ago called Where Are the Con Artists Now? #1, Harvey Dent. It appears that Mr. Dent decided that he didn't like the fact that I stated his actual name, in which he has done over and over again in a good majority of his videos on the channel that got taken down by YouTube for him bullying other people. However, he seems to feel that by my very statement of saying his full name, that was something that was violating his privacy, which of course I don't want to do. So I have removed that off of the video, and I am now re-uploading that video. But I would like to draw your attention to something, because after it being up for about a year, that seems like an awfully long time to let that go, that he was fully well aware of that information being on the video. As a matter of fact, he clapped back on that video pretty hard when I first made it, and made a lot of videos about virgotriad, even actually showing a picture that I had on my channel from when I was just uploading children's videos for my grandbabies. I would say that showing a picture of someone who obviously didn't want the picture on their channel anymore, that he's done numerous times, is a bigger privacy violation. But to avoid having to call a wambulance for him, I've decided to remove it so there's no possibility that I'm invading any kind of privacy in his eyes. And I wanted to show you what I think is really going on with Mr. Dent here. Outside of just being a plain old con artist, and really not a very good one at that, I do believe that this particular personality disorder kind of describes what we're seeing with this. It's called histrionic personality disorder, or HPD, and it's defined by the American Psychiatric Association as a personality disorder characterized by a pattern of excessive attention-seeking emotions. Now, that's something that, of course, a licensed psychiatrist or sociologist would probably need to determine. However, I do have a degree in psychology, and I have to tell you that honestly, I think that this is what's going on here. But in order to avoid the possibility of Mr. Dent getting more upset and having, well, a bigger, we'll say, little fit, I'm going to go ahead and just remove that one section and re-upload the video in its entirety other than that one little baby section. So I hope everybody enjoys, and it's a good refresher because let's face it, Harvey Dent is a con. Good morning, everyone. Virgotriad here. It is October 2nd, 2018. Happy October to everyone. And being that we are now past the summer months, and it has been an entire year since the scam of the TDA so-called secret Federal Reserve accounts started, we're going to take a look back and see where are they now in a new series that I'm starting this week on each individual con artist that perpetuated the redemption theory scam starting back in and about June and July of 2017. We're going to be taking a look at each one of these individuals and see where they started, how they got going, what happened in the interim, and what it is that they're doing now, starting appropriately with #1, Harvey Dent. No, not this guy. Although Harvey Dent would prefer to consider himself a true Batman character, we're actually talking about this guy. On the Harvey Dent Returns channel, due to the fact that Harvey Dent's original channel was taken down for violating community standards, Dent runs a YouTube channel where he talks about a variety of different anti-government and sovereign citizen-like ideologies. Some of you may remember this video. In this video called Pay Your Bills Now Using Your Social Security Account, Harvey goes on to brag about how he has found a way to use your Social Security number in order to pay all of your bills using ACH or the automatic clearinghouse process and using Federal Reserve routing numbers in order to get free money as of June and July of last year. In the summer of 2017, thousands of people began attempting Harvey's theory. Numerous people found that they ended up with repossessions on their vehicles, foreclosures on some of their homes, and found themselves much deeper in debt and continued to have to pay bills for this process. But for as many people that ended up in credit trouble, having checking accounts closed, credit cards closed, and other things taken from them that they had worked hard for, nothing could compare to what Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe, Randall Keith Bean, and Marvin Miller are now having to deal with: prison sentences. In this article written in February of 2018 by Knox News, you will find in the description, you can read for yourself. The heading of this is Fraud Fit for a Supervillain, Comic Book Banking Sank Sovereign Citizens at Fraud Trial. As you can see, if you go down here just to the second little section here, it states that an alter ego and a secret stash. Prosecutors say Bean, an Air Force veteran, working as a computer programmer for Advantage Innovations in Knoxville, had buried himself under tens of thousands of dollars in debt he owed to the United States Automobile Association, an online banking service catering to current and former military personnel. A salary that topped $140,000 per year still wasn't enough to keep him from bouncing checks and facing past due notices. In the summer of 2017, Bean came across a YouTube video promoted by Tucci-Giraffe. Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe is who they're referring to, through her Facebook page. The video posted by Harvey Dent, the same name as the criminally insane Gotham District Attorney, better known as Two-Face. Here is another article called Sovereign Citizen Convicted After Giving Advice on Plundering Federal Reserve. The picture you see here is of Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe. Heather Ann Tucci was actually convicted in July of 2018 and is now serving almost 5 years in prison due to the advice of Mr. Harvey Dent. The picture you are currently looking at is of Randall Keith Bean. Randall Keith Bean was recently, in July of 2018, was sentenced to over 12 years in prison due to the fraud that was perpetuated by the Harvey Dent channel. Randall Keith Bean was found guilty of bank and wiring fraud, along with Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe. The picture that you're currently looking at is of a gentleman by the name of Marvin Miller. He's of Broward County, Florida, and Marvin is currently an inmate awaiting sentencing. Marvin was a staunch follower of Harvey Dent's channel. At one point, Harvey Dent attempted to purchase a Nissan off the showroom floor with a handwritten promissory note that he claimed should technically work. Marvin decided to take it a few steps further. Marvin took it upon himself to attempt to try two things at once, based on Harvey's theories. The first thing he did was he acquisitioned Vistaprint to print him off some checks using his Federal Reserve routing number and his Social Security number. Using this check, he wrote over a check to a Fidelity account in which it made it appear for the first 24 hours that he had over $100,000 in that account. He then walked into a BMW dealership and which he showed the desk man that he had over $100,000 in a Fidelity account, and he was putting together a promissory note, just as Harvey Dent did, or some call it accepted for value, and made an attempt to try to purchase that vehicle. As a result of this, the the BMW dealership allowed him to drive off the lot with a brand new BMW. Marvin was allowed to take the vehicle off the dealership showroom floor. When Marvin was asked to return the vehicle, he did so. That did not stop the dealership from being upset and saying that at this point the vehicle was now used and no longer new and would have to be sold as such. The dealership did call the police department and made a report. Later, Marvin was picked up on many counts of fraud and bounced checks, since all of the checks that he had made out had a Federal Reserve routing number and his Social Security number as the account number on them, and they were all being reversed and bouncing. Marvin Miller is currently awaiting sentencing. Marvin is facing a multitude of years in federal prison due to following the Harvey Dent channel in the summer of 2017. Harvey Dent has been asked several times how he feels about these three people facing prison sentences or already in prison serving many years, and he takes virtually no responsibility whatsoever for the statements that he made, neither on video or live, but instead continues to push the matter. In fact, when the virgotriad channel came out with the information in order to warn others that this was something that could get you into a lot of legal trouble, and that clearly Harvey Dent had not done his due diligence, as he claims, or research with regards to this, we saw that he started a witch hunt, calling for anybody who could give him information as to who the owner of the virgotriad channel was, and calling out nasty names, basically making derogatory statements that the Virgo channel was a government-run shill channel, instead of just coming forward and understanding that perhaps he needed to do a bit more research, and an apology was definitely in order, especially to those many people that he did damage to, who lost their vehicles, who were in the process of losing their homes, and people who fell further in debt than they already were, and most of all, to Randall Keith Bean, Marvin Miller, and Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe. But instead, Harvey came forward, started a witch hunt on the virgotriad channel, and made the claim that Randall Keith Bean and Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe were not even real people. He made the claim that the actual trial itself was a setup, that it was a government story, a show put on for the people. He went on to falsely claim that the information that was online or in major mainstream news never mentioned anything about this particular trial with Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe and Randall Keith Bean. He stated that Marvin Miller was just slow and that he clearly was an ignorant man. It was not Harvey's fault that he chose to follow him. Harvey made himself to be a pillar of the community, and along with doing this, he put together a GoFundMe account that people could put money into in order to supposedly help the movement and others. But who got help out of it? Harvey Dent did. Harvey admitted himself that he removed $5,000 from the GoFundMe account when he was removed from his home for not paying rent, and $10,000 from t-shirt sales that came directly from his channel and the International Freedom Movement that supposedly was giving people correct information. Later on, the Harvey Dent Return channel popped up with some information on 501c3s and charities. And as a result of this, not even 6 months ago, he was pushing an agenda still, claiming that the Federal Reserve had secret accounts for people with millions of dollars in them, and that people could actually give to charity with these accounts using ACH once again. As a result, many people attempted this, and a very small charity out of California took a big hit because of it and ended up filing police reports against the people who did it. Although I did not follow what happened to these individuals, if anything, I do know for a fact that the people that actually run the charity took a large hit, and as a result, because of the money that they ended up having to pay for fees on these checks that did not clear. Those were shoes that didn't go to children who deserved them. Now, you would think after all of this, and after being exposed by the virgotriad channel, that Harvey would stop. And for a while, he did. For a while, he started doing regular news and talking about things that people would find of substance. And although it may not be a channel that everybody would want to see, and it wasn't as sensationalized as the anti-government rhetoric that he ran in the previously, at least he wasn't acting as a con artist and getting people in trouble. But a quick look at it recently shows Harvey's been back at it again. A quick look at the Harvey Dent channel tells us that Harvey hasn't actually changed at all. He's just veiled his videos more. He's just made sure that it's a little more difficult for YouTube's algorithm to locate the nonsense information he continues to spew. Just take a look at some of these videos. You don't even actually have to watch them to know what it is that he's talking about. 12 Steps to Escape Enslavement. One of Harvey's favorite things, to talk about how you're a slave to the system. And the big thing, why he's got this lovely light bulb on his intellectual freedom movement moniker, the moniker he uses, is he claims you're asleep. And all he's trying to do is wake people up. Here's another one, mortgage means death pledge. How about the code that exposes the Fed? 501c3 update. And facts that you should know, yet again with the Social Security number on them. This is no different than Harvey's ever done. See, what Harvey cares about is being monetized. And Harvey was a good boy until he got monetized again. He was good for a while after he got monetized, but as you see, slowly he's eking out more garbage and more things that if people don't check into them, will get them in trouble. Regardless of what you may believe or what your ideology is, you can take what I'm saying to the bank. The only thing that you're going to gain from Harvey Dent's supposed theories, the only thing that's keeping you asleep, as a matter of fact, are Harvey Dent's theories. Harvey likes to proclaim that you are asleep and he's trying to wake you up. But there's no factual evidence, none whatsoever, that anything that Harvey has said about Federal Reserve secret accounts is true. And even the proof that Harvey claims he has is not real proof at all. The virgotriad channel has gone to great lengths to make sure that there is a playlist of all of the Harvey Dent fraud in order to try to keep people from finding themselves in trouble, like the 3 people that are in prison now, like the people that have lost their automobiles, homes, and are further and deeper in debt due to following Harvey's ridiculous claims. You will find that playlist in the description of this video. This is the first of a series of several that I will be doing this week on where they are now. Appropriately, since Harvey Dent started and claims that he started this movement, Harvey Dent is number 1. Number 1 on our con man list. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.